back to the map for just 1 second, I want to point out one of the key areas for Joe Biden, and it is the South. There you see Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Virginia, North Carolina. These are states with very strong African American voting populations. In some of those states, they're even majority African American voters. And I want to talk about the importance of those voters with Chris White, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Black Millennials for Flint. That's a grassroots organization that's been dealing with the lead in the water crisis in that city in Michigan. So great to have you here.
Thank you.
With me this morning, Chris. Chris has also just come from Tom Steyer's campaign. Of course, he dropped out after South Carolina. But you're a great voice on all of this. What do you make, number one, of Joe Biden's very strong results from yesterday?
Well, I think that it's important to see the party is unifying. I think as on a whole level, we need to unify our Democratic Party. There were a lot of candidates that were running. I think specifically with Tom Steyer's campaign, we were able to shape narratives, and I think that was really important. We brought some narratives to the stage that Black voters really need to care about. I think economic equity, environmental justice, and just social justice in general. I think bringing those issues to the forefront were really important things that Black voters are now engaged about. And I think seeing Joe Biden's wins across the South show that Black voters are engaged very much so in the election.
Let's look at that map together. When you see strong blue all across, I mean, he really, some people are saying he has the Democratic establishment to thank for coming to his rescue, but some are others saying he has African Americans to thank because he's done so well in those states, and they've really propelled him right back into contention. So that Black support is key to Joe Biden, not just yesterday, but for the future.
Very much so. I think that Black voters should not shortchange ourselves, right? I think we definitely need to care and focus more on the issues more so than the candidate. But I think Joe Biden's wins definitely show that our party is unifying, and that's very exciting to see.
So here's one area where they're not, though. We understand that young Black voters are very much in the Bernie Sanders camp.
Very much so.
So
yeah.
You're looking at an older, younger generational split that's potentially problematic, potentially worrisome here.
While there is a generational divide that exists in undercurrents, speaking about policy issues,
yes,
I think that overall we have to look at who the most qualified candidate will be. And I think that will come out as voters continue to vote and we continue to have elections across the state and these primary results continue to unfold. I don't want to make any predictions about what I think and how things are going to shake out. I think it's very surprising and exciting to see, the support that Sanders has in California.
Yes.
But I also think that it's very telling and important that Biden has such a large grouping and gathering of support from the South, inching into the West with Texas, taking Texas. So I think, it's important to look at both sides.
Yes.
And I think we should really think about the policy issues. My biggest message to Black voters is to stick to the policy and stick to the issues that matter to us. And equity is number one.
So that's interesting because Joe Biden has really been capitalizing not just on his tie to Barack Obama, but on his long-standing relationships with so many Black community leaders and his deep involvement with the community. But I'm hearing you say that's not enough, that's nice, but let's hear him address specifically issues that matter to you. What do you think are going to be key issues within African American communities in the general election to come as, the race for the White House really picks up, if
very
it is
much
Biden?
So. Yeah, very much so. I think key issues for Black voters are going to be, number one, health care. I think we are all just trying to make sure we survive, right? And when we talk about healthcare, we can't have that conversation without looking at environmental justice issues and climate change. I think that there are ways that Black communities are disproportionately affected, and Black communities don't always get those narratives. So I think that's a crucial and key issue that the Steyer campaign was certainly fighting for to highlight. And then I also think that affordable housing and jobs are some other key issues, if not education also. Education is huge and crucial. I think that we definitely care about how we're going to make sure our children are educated in the next generation. So.
All right, these are the things that we'll have to listen to. I want to know your thoughts on the future, whether it's Bernie or Biden, but certainly perhaps most notably with Joe Biden, if he were to be on the ticket. Many people now starting to think about who is there as his vice presidential running mate. And some are suggesting names like Kamala Harris. But the importance perhaps of having an African-American woman as his partner. What do you think about that, and who might be potential contenders in your eyes?
I think that would be incredible, and I think that's honestly what we need right now in terms of the party to unify our country. I think that diversity is very important, and I think that would show, it would be a great gesture in showing that diversity.
Would it be she? Is that who you'd like more than anyone else, or there are other people? I'm thinking Kamala Harris, Stacey
Kamala Harris
Abrams.
is a wonderful candidate,
Yes.
and I think that she would be a great vice president. But I think there are a lot of others too that would be wonderful. So I can't speak and I can't say who I think would be the best.
But a woman of color on that ticket.
A woman of color definitely would speak a lot. It would send a large message that diversity is important to his campaign.
Okay. Such a pleasure to meet you
Thank
and
you.
to hear your insight. Thanks very much. Chris White, who is the COO of Black Millennials for Flint, here with me from the Steyer campaign, and now looking at things globally here as we cover Super Tuesday on CBC News Network.